At just 20 years old, he was living every footballer's dream. A young star with blistering pace, a powerful left foot, and comparisons to legends like Roberto Carlos. When Real Madrid came calling, it seemed like the sky was the limit. But what happens when the dream becomes too big to handle? When the pressures of the world's most glamorous club pushes a young talent to the edge? This is the story of a Wonderkid who had it all, only to see it slip away in the most unexpected way. And trust me, you won't believe where it all went wrong. Imagine being 20 years old and having the world at your feet. That was Royston Drenthe in 2007. He wasn't just a rising star, he was a rocket shooting straight into football's stratosphere. Drenthe's talent was undeniable. Fast, strong, and incredibly versatile. He played as both a left back and a winger. People started comparing him to Roberto Carlos. Yes, that Roberto Carlos. That legendary Brazilian known for his explosive speed and thunderous free kicks. It wasn't just talk either. Drenthe was already showcasing the kind of brilliance that made those comparisons feel legitimate. The world truly started paying attention during the 2007 UEFA European Under-21 Championship. Drenthe was on fire. He didn't just play well, he dominated the tournament. His performances were so electrifying that he was named the Player of the Tournament, an accolade that instantly put him on the radar of every major club in Europe. The tournament wasn't just a stepping stone, it was a launch pad. Enter Real Madrid, the biggest football club in the world. They weren't just interested, they were desperate to sign him. And they did. In August 2007, Drenthe made his dream move to Madrid for a reported 14 million euro. That's around 19 million today, and a massive sum for a 20-year-old back then. But for Real Madrid, it was worth every penny. They believed Drenthe was the future. In his very first game for Madrid, he scored an absolute screamer from 40 yards out. The crowd went wild, and for a moment, it seemed like the sky was the limit for Drenthe. He had everything: talent, youth, and now, the platform to become a global superstar. This was the moment everyone thought Royston Drenthe would go on to be one of the best in the world. But as we know, the story didn't go as planned. Royston Drenthe's move to Real Madrid in 2007 was every young footballer's dream come true. He wasn't just joining any club, he was joining the club. Real Madrid, Los Blancos, the Galacticos, the biggest and most successful football club in the world, with a history that reads like a who's who of football legends. The pressure was immense, but so was the opportunity. When Drenthe arrived in Madrid, the expectations were sky high. The club had just shelled out 14 million for him, which was a massive amount for a 20-year-old at the time. But Madrid saw something special in Drenthe. They believed he had the potential to become a global superstar, a future legend. His debut for the club was nothing short of spectacular. In his very first match, Drenthe picked up the ball from 40 yards out, took a couple of touches, and unleashed an absolute rocket. The ball flew into the top corner of the net, and the Santiago Bernabeu erupted. This wasn't just a goal, it was a statement. The fans were ecstatic, and for a moment it looked like Drenthe was destined to follow in the footsteps of the greats who had worn the white jersey before him. But football is unpredictable, and the fairy tale didn't last long. After that stunning debut, things quickly started to go off rails. Drenthe struggled to find consistency in his performances. He showed flashes of brilliance, but also moments of inexperience and poor decision-making. As the pressure mounted, his confidence began to wane. At a club like Real Madrid, the spotlight is always on and there's no room for mistakes. Drenthe found himself in and out of the starting lineup, unable to secure a permanent spot on the team. The pressure, the expectations, and the relentless scrutiny started to take their toll. He was still young, but at Real Madrid, patience is a luxury that few players can afford. Despite the promising start, Drenthe's time at Madrid quickly turned into a struggle. The dream move that was supposed to catapult him to stardom instead became a constant battle to prove himself. The debut goal that had set the stage for greatness now felt like a distant memory. And just like that, the Real Madrid dream began to fade, leaving everyone wondering what could have been. After the initial hype at Real Madrid, Royston Drente's career took a sharp turn for the worse. The pressures of playing for the world's biggest club seemed to weigh heavily on him, and soon his off-field life began to spiral out of control. Drente's love for the nightlife became notorious. Madrid's vibrant party scene was a constant temptation, and he found himself drawn to it more and more. What started as innocent fun quickly escalated into reckless behavior. Late-night parties, heavy drinking, and a growing entourage began to take precedence over training and matches. One incident that stands out is when Drente, in a state of intoxication, crashed into a police car. It was a shocking moment that highlighted just how far he had strayed from the promising young star everyone thought he would be. This wasn't just a small mistake, it was a clear sign that his life was spiraling out of control. His personal life was also in turmoil. Troubled relationships and disputes with those closest to him only added to the chaos. Instead of focusing on his game, Drente was constantly dealing with the fallout from his off-field antics. These behaviors did not go unnoticed. His coaches and teammates began to lose patience. What was once seen as youthful exuberance was now viewed as a lack of discipline and professionalism. His relationship with the people who could help him, the coaches, the staff, his teammates, became strained. He was seen as unreliable, and trust started to erode. The turning point came when these off-field issues began to directly impact his performance on the pitch. The once promising talent who had lit up the European stage was now struggling to make any real impact. His playing time decreased, and he found himself spending more time on the bench than on the field. The downward spiral was in full effect. The more he struggled, the more he seemed to seek solace in the wrong places. The pressure, the expectations, and the fame that had once seemed so thrilling now became overwhelming burdens. Drente's career, which had started with so much promise, was beginning to unravel before everyone's eyes. From the heights of playing for Real Madrid, Royston Drente's career took a nosedive that saw him drift into footballing obscurity. Once touted as the next big thing, his fall from grace is as dramatic as his rise. After his off-field issues became too much to handle, Real Madrid decided to loan Drente out, hoping that a change of environment might help him rediscover his form. But instead of turning things around, Drente's attitude and lifestyle choices only worsened. Loan spells at clubs like Hercules and Everton showed glimpses of his talent, but inconsistency and a lack of discipline prevented him from making any lasting impact. By the time his contract with Real Madrid ended, Drente's career was already in freefall. The clubs he moved to next were a far cry from the grandeur of the Santiago Bernabeu. He played for second and third tier teams like Alenia Vladikavkaz in Russia and Reading in the English Championship, but the spark that once made him a star had dimmed. Drente's football career, which had started with such promise, gradually faded into obscurity. The man once compared to Roberto Carlos was now struggling to stay relevant in the lower leagues. It was a stark contrast to the player who had been one of the most exciting young talents in the world just a few years earlier. At just 29 years old, Drente made the decision to retire from professional football. His early exit from the game was surprising, but also a sad testament to how far he had fallen. But his post-football life took an even more unexpected turn. Drente decided to pursue a career as a rapper, releasing music under the name Roya Two Faces. He also trained to become a nurse, a far cry from the glamour of the footballing world. Drente has reflected on his career and admitted that his downfall was largely due to his own mindset. At the peak of his success, he believed he was God, untouchable and destined for greatness. But this arrogance, coupled with poor decisions and a lack of discipline, ultimately led to his downfall. Royston Drente's story is a powerful reminder of how quickly things can change in the world of football. From the heights of Real Madrid to the lower leagues and beyond, his career is a cautionary tale of unfulfilled potential. If you found this story interesting, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more amazing football stories. And don't forget to check out our other videos. You won't want to miss them.